Hi, quarantine. A little later than usual today, but I literally could not find a quiet spot anywhere in this house. Online learning has started, and there are penalties for being late. And that has my anxiety right up because now I'm back to a schedule that is not my own, managing the schedule of other people. Um, so, what I wanted last week, we had the theme of brain freeze, talking about the things that I do to kind of pull myself out of bad moments or in a moment when I catch that spin of anxiety, the endless spin that doesn't go anywhere good, how I kind of stop that spin from happening. This week, I want to have a different series of conversations that are more along the lines of checking in. And here's what I mean by that. The way we talk about mental health is, frankly, it's disgusting. I hate it. This is one of the reasons why I'm so open about my own journey and my struggles, is that I'm committed to changing this conversation in my lifetime about the way we look and talk about and think about our own mental health, which will make this world safer, really, for each other and for our kids as well. And the what kind of underlies it is a non-clinical term. This is an MK term. I called it basis. If there is basis is like, I think I pulled that from Legally Blonde, or my dad's an attorney. So like if your argument has basis, that means it has like legal foundation, that, everything that rests on top, all the arguments that rest on top of that basis is solid. And we kind of talk about mental health in the same way. When we talk about anxiety or depression, if your anxiety has basis or your depression has basis, there's like a good reason for it, then you're totally fine. It's a logical reaction. But if you don't have basis, then it's an illogical reaction, and that's really stupid. That's not how it works. Like when you go to the doctor, they're not like, saying, well, you only have this much cancer. You're kind of weak. You can handle it on your own. Some things are just big. And it's not like it's bigger than you, which is to say that you're small and you're weak, but that's how it's presented. That's the language. So if you admit something that's bigger than you, that you need help. I mean, we've been conditioned since we were little to do things on our own. And especially something like depression. How many of you would have heard at some point in your childhood, stop crying. You have nothing to be sad about. You have nothing to cry about. You've got such a good life. Yeah, me too. So there's a shame component that comes along with discussions of, say, privilege, as though privilege negates sadness. That's not how it works, or that it's somehow linked to gratitude. Like if you are depressed or sad in some way, then that means you're just ungrateful for the good things, and that's again gross and tacky. That's a moral judgment that really has no place in a medical conversation. And when we're talking about feelings, yeah, there is a point where this goes toward the medical. And right now we're in a place where people are quarantined at home, probably doing a lot of things that they would not normally do. Like now I'm responsible for my children's education. That's a first. Or we're in our feelings in some way and we don't know really what to do with them. A lot of us might be talking to our friends about, I don't know, anything. And our friends will say, I can't talk about this. That's too much. And then that's embarrassing because that feels like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't have felt that. So this is underpinning the conversation that I wanted to have. It's not about you. Don't make it about you. Most people with depression, even when, basis aside, like there's a lot going on right now in the world, obviously. I don't have to tell you that. But it doesn't negate the need to then ask for help if you're struggling. Most people with depression or anxiety that's gotten out of control aren't aware of it. It's just become such a part of their normal and their day-to-day that they keep moving forward without asking, is this normal? What would help look like? Because we don't even know what's out there. What does better or different look like? So this is how do you know when you put too much on one person? So a lot of us who have grown up with anxiety and depression did not have the support that we needed in childhood. We were made a little too independent, a little too soon. There are lots of things that can cause it. This is just my personal journey, and it happens to be one that's shared with a lot of people. And we hesitate, we feel guilty for our feelings, and we hesitate to ask for help. And so little help has been available to us externally that we aren't necessarily aware of what our options are and what's out there. And going to something like therapy can feel like failure. And then the people around you don't want to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, and you feel like there's something wrong with you. So I like to come back to an old exercise. This is tell you all of that to tell you this. This is an exercise I learned a very long time ago. In those moments where I feel like, because I know I'm a lot, I'm a big personality. I'm fucking fearless. I will talk about anything because I'm not ashamed. It doesn't mean people like to use that to call me crazy, but I'm not actually crazy. I'm perfectly rational and I'm totally sentient. And I'm aware of the consequences of my actions pretty much all the time. I just accept that a lot of times I can't win either way. And a lot of conversations, though uncomfortable, still need to be had. My life has not ever been improved in the moments I chose to keep my mouth shut. I got to be incentivized to stop talking. So this exercise was one that I learned in therapy. In those moments where I feel like maybe I'm a little too much, maybe the problem really is me, I go to a piece of paper and I draw a big circle like this. I go to my nest. I go somewhere nice and quiet as soon as I can get there. And sometimes I sit in my bathtub. I would have done that today, but there's no good way to get a camera angle in there. But what I do is I sort of brain dump, mentally and verbally vomit all over this piece of paper. Key is this: things that I can control in some form or fashion, not indirectly, but directly control whether or not I eat, whether or not I take a shower, whether or not my children are fed. That goes in the circle. The things that I cannot control go outside the circle. You've probably heard of this exercise before, but here's the spin on it that I want you to remember. The things that are inside the circle are the things that you need to discuss with the people in your immediate purview, your partner or spouse, your close friends, your children, your parents, whoever constitutes your support system and network. They talk about you discuss the things inside the circle with them. The things that are outside the circle, you can discuss with them, but these are the moments when they're going to say that's too much. I don't know what to say. I don't want to have this conversation. If they're backing away from you, the problem isn't you. You've just put these feelings and this conversation in the wrong place. It belongs with a trained professional, a therapist. And I prefer the word advocate because that's who my therapist is. She's my advocate. She's advocating for me. She's telling me, you know what, that is a perfectly rational response. I'm glad you brought this here because most people aren't trained to have this conversation. You are more outspoken than most. You're comfortable talking about things that make people really uncomfortable. It's a good thing you came here. It's never from a place of there's something wrong with you. That's a lot. Would you like some more support? What would that support look like? And then we talk through the options. But it starts by getting it down on paper and remembering that whatever it is you're feeling, whatever it is you're responding to, the problem isn't you. You're not too much and you're not too weak. Is that even possible to be too much and too weak at the same time? Think about that. We talk out both sides of our mouth when it comes to mental health. The problem isn't you. Whatever it is you're feeling is valid. If you feel like you're too much, then your feelings, you're just putting them in the wrong place. Get them on paper. And it's not to say you can't have these conversations with people closest to you. It's just knowing the stuff that's out of our control. Broadly and generally speaking, I take that stuff to therapy first. And then later, if I still need to, I'll discuss it with the people closest to me. So don't worry about the number of things. It's not about the ratio of how much is inside versus outside the circle that determines your mental health. It's how much it's impacting you. If looking at the things you can control and doing something about them and trying to shut the rest out isn't something you feel capable of doing or need assistance doing, all the more reason to go to therapy. The problem isn't you, it's the way you've been trained to look at this and the way that we as a society have been having this conversation. So that's the circle. I call it the circle game. That's the circle game. Reminder that you're awesome and that you're coached and loved and you're winning at life and that there is a whole bunch of help out there. And this country is going to be entering a mental health crisis. If we're not already there, we're going to be getting there, which is why this week we're going to be talking about, depression and anxiety a little more directly. I'm still going to give you the tips and tricks. You're not going to believe the movie I've got coming out. I'm going to talk about on Friday. You're going to love it. You've probably already seen it. It'll put a big smile on your face. But between now and then, we can't say it's okay to not be okay and then not define what not okay looks like and then tell you what to do. And that's what we're going to be doing this week with the anxiety management. I want to talk about when I know that I'm overwhelmed. You're going to see some of the things that I do. You've already seen them, but you're going to see more. You're going to see the actual steps when I contact my therapist, what that looks like, and how this sort of talk therapy actually is incredibly helpful. And it makes me to have real big open conversations with most of the world. But the really, really incendiary stuff, the wildest stuff of all, no one on this earth hears but my therapist. That is a wild thought, is it not? Yay. I'm coached. I'm loved. I'm winning at life because I talk. I'm good with my feelings, and that makes me free in a way that most people aren't. It is possible that you can free yourself too, especially in a time like this. Why not? See you tonight.